Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here you see with the female reproductive system, you can also see urinary system as well. But we'll take a look at female first, the reproductive system. This part here is called the mons pubis. Then down here you have the labia majora, labia minora, then the opening into the vagina. Okay. There's a little membrane in there called the hymen. Okay. And this down here, if you're wondering, that's the anus. Okay. Anyhow, the vagina. So we'll go now into the female reproductive tract. We'll open this up. Okay, great. So this one's fine. Let's take a look at the inside now. We were over here before. This little portion here, not clear to see, but with the older model, I think you could see the hymen. It's the membrane that is broken with the female's first sexual experience. Okay. Now, then you have here the vagina. As you can see, the vagina has rugae. Okay, the vagina, this is the vaginal canal. Okay, and then we reach over here, the end of the vagina, which comes into this dead end. This is called the fornix. This is the posterior or dorsal fornix, and the anterior fornix over here. How do I know this is anterior? Because the anterior is closer to the front part. This is the front. This is the urinary bladder. The posterior fornix is closer to the back. This is therefore the rectum. Okay? So you have posterior fornix, anterior fornix. Now, continuing upward, we have here now the uterus. Okay? With different parts of the uterus. First of all, this portion of the uterus here, this whole portion, is the cervix. Cervix means neck, so it's the neck of the uterus, the most narrow portion of the uterus. Within the cervix, you have a cervical canal. You have the external os, this little opening into the cervix. And the upper opening over here is called the internal os. That leads right into this cavity or chamber. This is the lumen of the uterus. Okay? Now here, therefore you have the body of the uterus and the fundus, this whole portion up here, the fundus of the uterus. Now within the uterine wall, you have three layers. Endometrium, myometrium, which is much thicker, consists of smooth muscle, and then finally the outer layer here, this is the perimetrium. Okay? Now, so that covers the uterus. Now, next, we turn this around slightly, and here you have the uterine tubes, also known as the fallopian tubes. All of this is the fallopian tube. Okay? It has several different portions. First, here, these little finger-like projections of the fallopian tube are called fimbria. Then you have this wide portion here above the fimbria that's called the infundibulum of the fallopian tube. Then you have this elbow here and this whole arm. This elbow and whole arm here is called the ampulla of the fallopian tube. And then finally the last portion that connects right to the uterus is the isthmus of the fallopian tube. And then you have this little gland here, which is the ovary. Okay, the ovary. Now you can also see with the model here, there are several different ligaments that are connected to these different structures. For instance, the ovary here has this thin ligament here called the ovarian ligament. Then here you have this flat-like ligament here. This is called the broad ligament. It's part of the broad ligament. And then the other important ligament that you can see with the model here is this cord right here. This one, that's the round ligament. The round ligament, okay? So all of these ligaments are holding these structures and organs in place. Now, let's see if I can see anything else by taking this apart.
Well, you need the clitoris too.
Yes, I'm going to go over some more things here with the female reproductive system. Let's put that back. Really nothing important except for the lumen of the uterus. Okay. Then here you have the pubic symphysis, which is bone and cartilage. Okay. The clitoris.
Wait, not
Actually,
the
this
one
is the clitoris. Yeah, this is the clitoris. These are blood vessels here. Clitoris, and then you have the other structures around the reproductive system. For instance, the urinary bladder, rugae of urinary bladder, the internal urethral orifice, the internal urethral sphincter, which is smooth muscle, the urethra of the female, the external urethral sphincter, which is skeletal muscle, found at this level. See this level? That consists of skeletal muscle. This is the urogenital diaphragm. And then finally, the external urethral orifice right there. So you can see it's important to mention some of these things because they are closely associated with the reproductive system, or close to the reproductive system in the female. And finally, back here you have the rectum, the internal anal sphincter, which is smooth muscle, the external anal sphincter, which is skeletal muscle, and then the anus right there. Okay? I think that's pretty much it for this model. Questions?